Good morning. Today we are reviewing 6.5 and 6.6. Both have to do with absolute value. So the first ones we're going to do have the equal sign. So we don't have to graph anything. We just have to write two equations. So if you think for a second, what could you put in here to get out a 0.5? What could you put in our shower for it to come out clean? Well, whatever's in there, x, better be equal to a positive. You could put a positive number in the shower. You could put a 0.5 in the shower, and it would still come out 0.5. You could also put in a negative 0.5 into the x, into the shower, and it would come out clean. A dirty number would come out clean inside our absolute value. So we have two answers. X equals negative 0.5 and x equals positive 0.5. Now think of this next one. What could I put inside my absolute value here for it to come out a 26? So don't think of what specific number. Wouldn't I have to put in a 26 in order to get out a 26 if there's a shower here? Don't actually cross this out, but just for a second, take a look. I could put in a 26 and I could get out a 26, or I could put in a negative 26 and get out a positive 26. Doesn't matter if I put a positive or a negative into the shower, it will come out clean. So we're going to write two equations, one equal to the negative number and one equal to the positive number. So what's equal to these numbers? Well, whatever's underneath here, which is x minus 15. So we have x minus 15 equal to a negative 26 and x minus 15 equal to a positive 26. The reasoning for this is because whatever was put in here better be equal to the number that has to come out of the shower. In order for it to come out clean, it has to be equal to a negative or a positive. So we're going to solve both. We want x by itself, so to subtract, the opposite of subtracting 15 would be adding 15. So those eliminate, and I get x equal to, now different signs means we subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, but there's more negatives, and then put those closer together. It's negative 11. Same thing on this next one. If I solve this, get rid of subtracting 15, I'm going to add 15. We have x equals, and 6 plus 5 is 11. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4, so 41. If you set the first one equal to a positive number here and this one equal to a negative, that's fine. You'll get the same two answers in the end. If you're not quite sure if you got it right, take these numbers and plug them back in for x to see if they work out. You can test them all out to see if you do in fact get out a 26 out of your shower. So let's try another one like this. What could I put in here inside our absolute value for it to come out clean, 18? Well, I know I'm going to have two answers because I could put in a negative 18 or I could put in a positive 18. So this whole piece right here has to be equal to negative 18 or positive 18. So 2x minus 4, 2x minus 4. So I'm going to solve this one first. Always remember, get rid of your addition or subtraction first, the number that's all by itself. So I'm going to add 4, add 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Those eliminate. So I have 2x equal to, now negative 18 plus 4, different sign, subtract. So 18 take away 4 is going to give me 14. But there's more negatives, so it's a negative 14. And then last, the opposite of multiplying by 2 is divide by 2. So you have x equal to, because 2 over 2 is just 1x, you can just put x. A negative 14 divided by 2, which is just 7. Then on this next one, same thing. Draw your line down. We want to get x by itself. So let's get rid of our addition or subtraction first. I'm going to add 4. So those eliminate. I have 2x equal to, now we're just adding, 8 plus 4 is 12, plus the other one there is 22. And then the opposite of multiply is divide. So we get x equal to 11. 22 divided by 2 is 11. So those are my two answers. If you're not sure if you got it right, remember, plug it back in. See if 2 times negative 7, that's negative 14. Negative 14 minus 4 is negative 18, but it's inside the shower, so it comes out clean. It worked. You could also check this one. Alright, this next one's a little bit different because we have a 5 outside of our shower. Remember that parentheses and absolute value are different. We do not have parentheses. You cannot distribute. You cannot draw a box. You just need to get the absolute value of the shower all by itself. So how do we get rid of that 5? Well, it's touching the parentheses, so I know it's multiplied. The opposite of multiply is divide. So we're going to divide by 5 on both sides. 5 divided by 5 eliminates. So inside my absolute value I have 2x minus 4. And then 30 minus 5, 30 divided by 5 is 6. Now that I have the absolute value here all by itself, whatever is in here could be equal to a negative or a positive 6 because it would come out clean, right? So this is when I'm going to write my two equations. One equal to negative 6 and one equal to positive 6. So I have 2x minus 4 equals negative 6 and 2x minus 4 equals positive 6. So let's solve this. Get rid of the subtract 4 first. I'm going to add 4. So those eliminate. I have 2x. Now negative 6 plus 4, different signs, subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2, but there's more negatives. And then last, the opposite of multiplying by 2 is divide by 2. So I have x equal to, well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and it's negative. Same thing on the other side here. Get rid of your addition and subtraction first. Same thing, add 4. So those eliminate. I have 2x equal to, well, 6 plus 4 is 10. And then the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2, just like the last problem, except we get a different answer because 10 divided by 2 is 5. Again, you can double check plugging this in to our absolute value. Alright, let's try a couple more, but with our less than and greater than symbols. It's exactly the same process. Whatever goes in here has to come out clean. So we could put a negative 7 in the shower or a positive 7 in the shower. But be careful, now we have these symbols. With the positive number, keep the symbol the same. And we have just x there. With the negative number, just like when you multiply or divide by a negative, your sign flips. So flip your inequality, and the x is just out front there. So there's nothing really to solve because x is already by itself, so we have our two inequalities. However, we need to make sure to read the directions. It says solve the inequality and graph it. And it even told you, hey, we're going to have two solutions. So I'm going to draw myself a short number line here. I have a positive 7 and I have a negative 7. These are both closed circles because of the equal to. And our arrows, this like an L, less than 7 would be to the left towards 6, 5, those numbers. And then greater than negative 7 would be towards the positives or to the right. So those are my answers. This is an AND statement. You don't need to know that, or you don't need to write that on your test, but that'll help you review our statements. Then our next one here, we need to figure out what could we put in here to get out a 17. Well, this whole thing could be equal to a negative 17 or a positive 17. Oh, but be careful, it's not an equals, it's really our symbol. The one that's with the positive stays the same. with the negative 1, we have to flip our symbol, flip the inequality. This information here stays the same. 4x plus 1, 4x plus 1. 1 flipped with negative, 1 exactly like it is. But you got to have two answers, because there's two numbers that you could put in the shower for it to come out clean. So, here, get rid of your addition and subtraction first, like always. Subtract 1. I have 4x is less than. Now I have a negative 17 and a negative 1, same sign. Add and keep. So that gives us a negative 18 total. And then the last opposite of multiply by 4 is divide by 4. And we have a negative 18 divided by 4. It's not going to give us a very nice whole number. I know 4 times 4 gives me 16, but there's two numbers left, so 2 left out of 4 would give me 1/2 or 0.5. You could also just plug 18 divided by 4 into your calculator. Don't forget the negative though. So there's our first answer. Second answer, if I subtract 1 as well on this side, we get 4x is greater than 17 minus 1 is 16, and then divide by 4. So those eliminate, and we have x is greater than 16 divided by 4 is 4. So notice, some people are going to assume that just because you solve one side, the other answer is automatically going to be the same exact number, like 7 and negative 7. But here I have negative 4.5 and 4. Back here, we got way different answers. Negative 7, 11, negative 1, 5. So notice, they're not always going to be the exact same number. You have to solve both. So on my number line, 4 is the greater number, more positive. Negative would be on the left, negative 4.5. Both of these are open circles. There's no equal to. And at 4, greater than is to the right, towards 5, 6. And less than over here is to the left. Last two, gotta be careful on these ones. Our absolute value, is not by itself. So let's get it by itself. You can't talk about what you're going to put in the shower to come out clean until we have the shower all by itself. So clean up our bathroom, get rid of this negative or this positive one by subtracting 1. So I have the absolute value of x minus 10. Here's my absolute value. I make those lines look thicker so they don't get confused for 1s. And 5 minus 1 is 4. Now that I have this absolute value by itself, well, whatever's in here has to come out clean, or 4. So I'm going to write my two inequalities. One could be with a negative 4, and the other could be with a positive 4. So keep the symbol the same for the positive one, flip it for the negative one, and we have just x minus 10. So if I solve this, get rid of subtracting 10 by adding 10. 10 minus 10 eliminates. Negative 4 plus 10, different signs subtract. So 10 minus 4 gives me 6. There's more positives, so that's our answer. On this side, same thing, add 10, add 10. But here now I get x is less than 10 plus 4 is 14. So I need to graph this. I know I didn't have directions on this slide, but you need to graph anytime you have our less than and greater than symbols. Well, which number is bigger? 14 is bigger. It's going to go towards the right. Like we could count 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But we don't need to number all of the lines. Both of these are open circles. At 14, like an L, less than is to the left. And 6 greater than 6 would be to the right. So our answers are between 6 and 14. Last one, same thing as well. Remember, you can't multiply with parentheses. This is our absolute value. Or you can multiply with parentheses, but this is absolute value. So we need to get rid of that 3. The opposite of multiplying by 3 would be dividing by 3. To get those to go away, then we have x plus 4. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Now that we have our absolute value by itself, we can write our two inequalities. One with negative and one with positive. So negative 6, positive 6. Keep the symbol the same for the positive one, and flip for the negative. And all we have is x plus 4. These ones are nice because they're only one step. There's no number with the x. So first, let's get rid of that plus 4. We need to subtract 4. We have x is less than or equal to negative 6 minus 4, same sign, add and keep, that's a negative 10 altogether. And then on the other side, same thing, subtract 4 to get rid of the adding 4. And we have x is greater than or equal to, well, 6 minus 4 is 2. So let's graph these both on a number line here. I know negative 10 is the least number, it's negative. 2 is the positive number. These both are closed circles. And then at 2, pointing to the right, greater than. And at negative 10, like an L, less than is to the left. Last thing to remember here, these are not the same number, and that's okay. Just because sometimes you get the same number like here, does not mean that it always will be the case. It's different over here and here, alright? So, if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck on your next test.